I didn't plan on her sitting there. Not like that. Not on my lap, not in that dress, and definitely not with that silence between us. But she did. The leather seats were burning hot from the afternoon sun, and I had come out early just to warm up the car before she left for her sister's. She wasn't supposed to get in yet. But the driveway was narrow, the neighbor's landscapers had blocked her side, and suddenly she was opening the passenger door, stepping in fast, saying, "Just for a second." That second stretched into a quiet minute. Her name is Julia. Technically my stepmother, but that word always felt too stiff. Too legal. I'd only known her for 3 years. My dad married her after I left for college. She was the kind of woman who made silence feel like something you earned, not something that happened. When she walked into a room, you felt your own posture change. And now she was on me, not in some scandalous way, just perched. Legs tucked sideways, balancing carefully on my knees, trying not to crush me. Trying not to touch too much. "Sorry," she said softly, adjusting her bag awkwardly in her lap. "It's just for a second." I nodded. Didn't move. Didn't trust myself to breathe too loudly. Her perfume was warm, not floral, not sweet. Something deeper. Like cinnamon on worn cotton. Familiar now. She wore it even in sweatpants. And I'd be lying if I said I hadn't thought about it long before this moment. She leaned forward to reach into the glove compartment. The shift of her weight made my thighs tighten under her instinctively. My breath hitched, and she noticed. Her head turned, just slightly. Not enough to face me. Just enough to say, "I heard that." "I should have sat in the back," she murmured. "It's okay," I said quickly. Too quickly. The glove compartment slammed shut. She leaned back again, one hand braced on the center console. My hand was resting right beside it, not touching, but close. Close enough to feel the heat between us like static. "Why are you always so quiet around me lately?" she asked, out of nowhere. That question hit harder than it should have. I swallowed. "I'm not," I lied. And she smiled, not because she believed me. Because she didn't. Another minute passed. "Hey," I said finally, surprising even myself. "Can I ask you something?" She looked at me this time. Really looked. Her eyes were tired, lined at the corners, but sharp. Curious. Guarded. "You just did," she said, her tone gentle but challenging. I exhaled a half-laugh. "No, I mean, something real." That got her attention. She shifted, barely. Her breath drew in subtly, like she'd just remembered this was real life and not a dream state we'd accidentally stepped into. "I'm listening," she said. And that's when I asked it. The question I had no right to ask, the one I'd kept buried for months. It came out before I could stop it. "Do you ever feel like we met at the wrong time?" Her face didn't move. But something in her chest rose, a breath held, maybe. Or a memory resurfaced. Before she could answer, her phone lit up on the dash. Dad's name. A photo of them smiling, one I didn't take. The phone buzzed once. Then again. She didn't move to grab it. I didn't move to remind her. We just sat there, in the car that suddenly felt too small for silence. Safety pin ends with cliffhanger, she doesn't answer the question. Dad is calling. They're both frozen, each pretending not to feel what's already too loud inside them. I didn't sleep much that night. After she left for her sister's, the smell of her perfume stayed in the car. It clung to my hoodie too, from when she leaned forward. I hadn't moved it since. I told myself I wasn't obsessing. That it was just a weird moment. That I wasn't reading into anything. But the way she didn't answer me, the way she stared at her phone and still didn't answer him, it stuck. We were alone again 2 nights later. Dad had a late meeting, something about a deal in Santa Rosa. I came home from work sweaty, wiped out, starving, but there she was in the kitchen, barefoot, hair up, stirring something in a pan with the music on low. She didn't look at me when I walked in. "You want some?" she asked, like it was nothing. "Sure," I said, pretending it was nothing. I grabbed 2 plates and sat down, trying not to stare at the curve of her back while she reached for the spice rack. This was the dangerous part, when everything felt too domestic. Too normal. She sat across from me. Ate quietly. She didn't speak until halfway through. "You asked me something in the car," she said, keeping her eyes on the food. I froze. Chewed slower. "I did. And I didn't answer." I nodded, not trusting myself to say anything yet. She set her fork down. "Because there's no good way to." That landed heavy. I looked up, finally. Her expression was unreadable. Not cold, just guarded. "You want the truth?" she asked. "I don't know," I said. "Do you?" That made her smile, but it was a sad kind of smile. She pushed her hair behind her ear and leaned back. "When I met your dad," she said slowly, "I was just trying to survive. My last relationship had ended ugly. I wasn't looking to feel anything deep. He was stable. Safe. Kind. I didn't speak. I didn't expect you," she added softly. "Didn't expect to feel watched." Understood. I looked down at my plate. Her words warmed something in me, but also burned. I didn't know what to do with them. "It's not fair," she said. "Not to you. Not to me. But if I said I'd never thought about it," she trailed off. "You have?" I asked, voice low. She didn't answer directly. Just looked at me, not like a mother, not like a friend. Like someone afraid of wanting too much. "I'm not a kid," I said, suddenly. "You don't have to protect me." A beat. Then another. She reached across the table, not for my hand, but for something beside it. Her fingers brushed mine by accident. Or maybe not. Neither of us moved away. I could feel her pulse in that tiny space between our skin. "I know you're not a kid," she whispered. "That's the problem." The lights flickered from the wind outside. A pot rattled on the stove. But in that small kitchen, something had shifted. And neither of us could pretend we didn't feel it. Safety pin ends with a light touch that neither pulls away from, and a whispered truth that complicates everything. I wasn't supposed to be in her room. But there I was, standing by her dresser while she rifled through her closet, swearing softly under her breath about a missing scarf. "Do you always lose things when you're nervous?" I asked, trying to keep it light. She paused. "Who says I'm nervous?" "You're color-coding your panic," I said, gesturing toward the pile of scarves she'd already tossed aside. She didn't laugh, but her shoulders relaxed slightly. Then she turned to face me, and I forgot whatever joke I had next. She was wearing a soft cream blouse tucked halfway into a long navy skirt. She looked older, but not in a bad way. More like timeless. Like someone who had been through things and didn't hide it. "Does this look normal?" she asked. "Normal's overrated," I said, slower now. Her eyes held mine too long. Something shifted in the silence between us again. And that's when we heard the front door open. My dad's voice. "Julia?" She froze. I stepped back instinctively, like we'd been caught doing something we hadn't done yet. "Crap," she whispered. She grabbed a sweater and practically shoved me toward the bathroom. "Just, don't say anything. Please." I didn't argue. The bathroom door clicked shut behind me just as my dad's footsteps echoed down the hall. "Hey," he called from her doorway, cheerful. "Thought you had that charity thing?" "Got pushed an hour," she said smoothly. "I was just heading out." There was a pause. Then him, softer, "You okay? You seem off." I leaned my head against the bathroom door, listening to every word like it might crack open the moment. "I'm fine," she said quickly. Too quickly. He kissed her cheek. I could hear it. My stomach twisted. I'll let you go, he added. Want me to heat up dinner for you later? Sure. Then, footsteps. Retreating. When the door shut again, I waited 5 seconds before stepping out. She was staring at herself in the mirror, not at me. Close call, I said, trying to mask the swirl in my chest. She didn't answer. I should go, I added. Her voice was barely above a whisper. You shouldn't have been in here. I didn't do anything. You didn't have to. She turned to me then, face flushed, not with anger, with restraint. You look at me like you already know things I haven't said out loud. I stepped closer before I could stop myself. Then say them, I said. She didn't move. I leaned in just slightly, just enough to feel the gravity pull between us. Her eyes flicked to my mouth. She didn't close the distance. But she didn't move away either. And then, a vibration buzzed between us. Her phone. Again. His name. Again. She didn't look down. But the sound alone broke whatever spell we were under. She stepped back. Go. Please. I nodded, jaw tight. And this time, I was the one who left first. Safety pin ends with, an almost kiss interrupted, rising emotional tension, and both characters walking away, but with hesitation heavy in the air. I wasn't invited to that dinner party. It was mostly her friends, older couples, wine people, the kind who talked about Tuscany like it was around the corner. I came home from work and tried to sneak past the living room, but her voice caught me. Hey, stay. There's extra risotto. Dad laughed. Let the kid relax. He's been working doubles. Still, she said, without looking at me, he's here. And that was the problem. I was always here. Always close enough to feel her mood change from across the kitchen. Always reading the way her smile stiffened when my dad put a hand on her lower back in front of company. I stood near the hallway wall for a while, watching her from a distance. She looked tired in that way only I could see, the careful laugh, the quiet glances toward the window like she wished she were somewhere else. When dessert came out, I couldn't take it anymore. I slipped into the backyard. Lit a cigarette I hadn't planned to smoke. Let the cold night quiet my head. 5 minutes passed. Then the door slid open. Julia stepped out, arms folded. No sweater. I didn't know you smoked. I don't, I said. Not really. She watched me for a second, then walked over. Close. She took the cigarette from my hand, put it to her lips, then immediately winced and coughed. I laughed. She did too, quietly. You're bad at that. I know, she said. I just wanted to try something reckless. I looked at her. She looked at me. And something cracked. I can't keep doing this, I said suddenly. Pretending I don't feel what I feel. Her mouth opened, but no sound came out. I see the way you look at me when no one's watching. And I know you don't want me to see it, but I do. I see you. And I think you want to be seen. She closed her eyes, jaw tight. You think this is easy for me? No. But I think you like making it harder. Every time you ask me to stay, every time you say my name like it's a favor and a warning. She stepped closer, not enough to touch, but enough to feel. You're a child, she whispered. I'm not. And you know it. The door slid open again. We froze. Dad stood in the doorway, holding a half-finished wine glass. You guys okay? Yeah, she said quickly, too smoothly. He was just telling me about his job. Dad nodded, unbothered. Come in when you're warm. He disappeared. She exhaled shakily. Then looked at me again. But this time, her eyes didn't flinch. Say it, I said. Say what you're afraid of. Her hands trembled slightly. Then her lips parted, safety pin ends with, she's about to speak, maybe to confess, maybe to end it, but we cut the moment short. The emotional peak is trembling and unfinished. The first sign something was wrong came in the form of silence. No texts. No, can you grab almond milk, or, are you home yet, texts. Nothing. For 3 days. Then the second sign came louder, a voicemail from my dad, his voice colder than usual. We're staying at her sister's for a bit. House needs some air. You'll be fine on your own. Air? What the hell did that mean? I didn't hear from Julia at all. I didn't want to go to her sister's place. I told myself I wouldn't. But Saturday night, I found myself driving past anyway, just to see the lights on. Just to know she was still real. I didn't expect to see her standing outside. Alone. Barefoot. Smoking. She saw me immediately. Didn't even look surprised. You shouldn't be here, she said as I pulled up. You left without saying anything. She crossed her arms. It was better that way. For who? She didn't answer. Then something in her expression shifted. She looked away, jaw clenched. Did he find out? I asked quietly. Her eyes flicked to mine, sharp and tired. He heard us. My stomach dropped. What? That night. In the backyard. He heard everything. I stepped back, like her words had pushed me. I don't know how long he was standing there, she added. Long enough. The cold air between us thickened. What did he say? He didn't yell, she said. Didn't get angry. He just looked at me like he didn't know who I was. Like I was disgusting. And what did you say? She looked up. Her eyes were glassy but dry. I didn't defend myself. Why not? Because maybe he was right. That cut deep. Too deep. So you just left? I asked. Just ran off to her house and ghosted me like I was the mistake? I had to leave. No. You chose to. A beat passed. Her lip trembled, just slightly. You think this is easy for me? That I'm proud of this? I think you're scared, I snapped. And I think you'd rather break both of us than admit you wanted something you weren't supposed to want. She didn't deny it. Just whispered, I can't be the woman who ruins someone. My voice broke, you already are. She stepped back like I'd slapped her. For the first time, I saw something I hadn't seen in her before, not distance, not denial. Shame. It mirrored mine. We stood there in silence. Two people who had reached a line neither of us knew how to uncross. Then her phone buzzed in her pocket. She pulled it out. Dad again. But she didn't answer. Not this time. Safety pin ends with, truth revealed, Dad overheard their moment. Julia disappeared out of guilt and shame. The emotional stakes skyrocket as both realize they've crossed a line they can't take back, and can't seem to walk away from either. I didn't expect her to come back. Not to the house. Not to me. But 3 days after our fight, I came home to find the porch light on. The same scarf she'd been looking for weeks ago was draped over the arm of the couch. Her shoes were by the door. And there she was, in the kitchen, holding a glass of water like she didn't know what to do with it. She looked up when I walked in. Didn't speak. Neither did I. I dropped my bag, leaned against the counter. Is he coming back too? She shook her head. He moved into a hotel. I nodded. That was the first honest thing we'd said to each other in days. She set the glass down. You want to know what I told him? I do. She looked at me, eyes rimmed red. I told him I hadn't cheated. That nothing happened. And did he believe you? No, she said. But I think he wanted to. I stepped forward slowly. And did you believe it? She laughed, short, sharp, tired. No then, softer, because it wasn't true. She walked around the counter, close enough to touch. We never kissed. Never touched. But I thought about you in ways I shouldn't have. Long before that night in the car. I swallowed. My chest tightened. Me too. I kept trying to turn you into something safe, she said. Kept telling myself you were just a boy, a phase. That you'd grow out of it. And you didn't, she said. And worse, I didn't want you to. My throat felt raw. So what now? I asked. She looked up at me, not guarded anymore. Just tired. And open. Now I stop hiding behind shame and just say it. I wanted to feel seen. And you saw me. I blinked back something sharp. I didn't just see you. I loved you, Julia. I still do. Her face twisted like she was about to cry, or laugh, or both. I'm not asking you to choose, I added. Not between me and him. Not tonight. I just need to know you felt it too. That I wasn't losing my mind. She reached up slowly, brushing my cheek with her fingers, gentle, careful, like it hurt to be that close. I felt it, she whispered. God help me. I still feel it. My hand covered hers instinctively. We stood like that, suspended. We didn't kiss. Not yet. We didn't say what came next. But something had ended. And something had begun. We were no longer pretending. Safety pin ends with, no kiss. No full resolution. But both characters finally see each other fully. Confession replaces confusion. Love replaces longing, with the future still uncertain, but no longer denied. It's been 2 months. The house feels different now, quieter, slower. My dad moved most of his things out last week. No fights. No drama. Just silence, like two people finally admitted they stopped trying long before things actually ended. Julia stayed. Not for me. Not because of me. But because, for the first time in years, she said she wanted to live a life that felt honest, even if it was uncomfortable. Some days we barely talk. We pass in the hallway, or make coffee in the same room without saying much. But there's something softer now. No tension. Just truth hanging in the air like morning dust through sunlight. She told me once, when we were both half asleep on opposite sides of the couch, that guilt is like a second skin, it doesn't go away, it just loosens over time. I told her I used to think love meant proving yourself. Trying hard to be enough. But now, I think maybe love is just showing up, even when it feels too late. She smiled at that. And then fell asleep leaning ever so slightly toward me. Her head didn't rest on my shoulder, not yet. But it was close. We still don't use words like together. Not out loud. But we cook dinner. We take slow walks at dusk when no one's looking. We sit on opposite ends of the couch, watching old movies, our knees sometimes brushing, and neither of us moves away. It's not a perfect ending. It's not clean. But it's real. And real is all I ever wanted. The last thing she said to me last night, before turning off the light and whispering goodnight from her bedroom doorway, was this: you don't ruin people, you know. You just make them see what they were missing. I didn't know what to say to that. Still don't. But when I closed my eyes, I realized, the longing wasn't killing me anymore. Because she finally saw me. And stayed. Speech balloon final lines. For audience engagement, did you enjoy the story? What kind of stories would you like to hear next? Forbidden romance, second chances, or love that shows up when you least expect it? Let me know in the comments. And remember, sometimes, the stories we hide are the ones we need the most. Safety pin emotional arc closed. Julia moves from guilt and regret to quietly choosing honesty and love. The narrator moves from making longing to calm connection and being truly seen. They don't need to say I love you to prove it. They live it, quietly, tenderly, imperfectly.